Hey, what is up, sheepdogs? Ryan here, and I just got finished watching Joe Biden and his other lunatic cabinet members talk about the new gun control executive orders, executive action, whatever the hell you want to call it, of how he is going to reduce gun violence in America. So it's really fascinating. It's hilarious to listen to this guy talk and to just listen to how you obviously think we are very, very dumb. Do you realize that as you're speaking, I'm able to Google stuff? So several things that Kamala, Joe Biden, and these other people say, lots of them, the stuff they're saying, I Googled it, and it's like, oh, well, that's wrong. Oh, well, that's wrong. And it's just absolutely insane. So while we're getting warmed up here, share this live stream. Let's get a bunch of people on here. Let's make sure that everybody knows exactly what is happening. Yeah, Sean needs some blood pressure meds. Yeah, it's just funny. And listen, man, we all have been in the firearms game for a while. You know, we know that this kind of stuff happens. We've known and expected for a long time that Joe was going to make this press conference. Everybody said it was going to happen in the first couple days. Didn't. So it took, 60 days or whatever. And that's it. But let's go over exactly what sleepy, creepy Uncle Joe Biden has to say and what he's going to do about reducing gun violence, right? So one of the things that Joe said that I found to be really hilarious is he said, nothing that I am going to recommend restricts the Second Amendment. Okay, obviously this dude has never read the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment says, shall not be infringed. And infringe has a very basic definition. It says, shall not be encroached upon. So you are encroaching upon it with your BS kind of agenda. He then goes on to say that gun violence in this country is an epidemic. You want to know what is an epidemic? Is thousands of migrants flooding across our border. The fact that children in California are not allowed to have in-person schooling, right? It's too dangerous for teachers to actually go teach kids in a school in California. But for some reason, they're allowed to go teach in-person classes to migrants that came across the border illegally. That is an epidemic, dude. That is an epidemic. So let's see what else he said. He talks about this epidemic in the country, right? I was waiting. Joe never said it. He must have forgot. He must have not looked at his notes, or he must have had one of those brain farts that he's so common of having. But Joe never mentioned how he's going to prosecute his son, Hunter Biden, for lying on a federal background check document. He never mentioned that he's going to prosecute his daughter-in-law for taking a firearm, a revolver, and throwing it in a dumpster of a grocery store. So why is it, Joe, that you believe you have the right to restrict me, a law-abiding citizen, who has never done anything illegal with my guns? It's an epidemic for me, but your family, your children, are actually doing illegal stuff with guns, and you're giving them a pass. And just, I'm proud of my son, who's out there smoking Parmesan cheese. Like, how ridiculous is this? So here are some of the executive orders that Joe said that he is going to pass or sign in the next few moments. So first is to restrict ghost guns. So 80% frames. He wants, within, I believe he said 30 days, he wants ATF to have regulations for 80% frames to be classified as firearms. Why can an 80% frame not be classified as a firearm? It's because it is not a firearm, Joe. It could never be used as a gun the way that it sits when you buy it. You have to actually do work. It is not possible. Like, I don't understand what the hell this guy is thinking. He says these ghost guns are being used in so many crimes by criminals committing drug deals and murders and stuff. Hey, Joe, why don't we make murder illegal? Why don't we make child sex slavery illegal? Why don't we make crossing the border to the United States illegal? Oh, that's right, because criminals don't care about the law. Criminals are going to do whatever the hell they want to do whenever the hell they want to do it. And if laws worked, our country would be if gun control laws worked, Chicago would be the safest place on the freaking planet. If gun control laws worked, California wouldn't lead the nation every year in mass shootings. But clearly, the gun control agenda is not working. So then the next thing he said that they are going to basically ban pistol arm braces. And if you put a pistol arm brace on your gun, then that would meet the requirements, according to him, of an NFA firearm, and you would have to get the $200 tax stamp and go through that whole long, arduous process. He then said, which is hilarious to me, he said, why are we letting people put these pistol arm braces on a firearm that makes it more lethal? What the hell do you think, man? Do you think these shooters are taking their AR-15 loaded with ammo and they're beating a bad guy to death with the pistol arm brace? That's not what's happening. They are shooting people. The arm brace is irrelevant. It has nothing. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, right? The arm brace does not affect the lethality of a firearm at all. At all. And then he goes on to say these arm braces make these AR pistols more concealable. Concealable to who? How the hell am I supposed to conceal an AR pistol? Am I supposed to wear like a big leather trench coat or whatever? It's just hilarious. But again, he's speaking to a bunch of people that are uneducated, that are frankly not very smart, and that just take this information as cookie cutter, that he must be telling the truth. He then went on to say, which was again, very funny to me, the third executive order is red flag legislation on a federal level. So he says that, I believe he said in the last couple days or whatever, 53 women have been the victim of gun violence by a domestic abuser. So just think about that sentence logically. So these women, who are innocent women, were the victims of gun violence by a domestic abuser. So let's go to the last part of that sentence, a domestic abuser. So that is somebody who already has told you that they don't give a shit about your law. That's somebody who clearly does not have a moral bone in their body. That's somebody who's willing to hurt their spouse, their girlfriend, their children, because they are evil people, okay? They're bad people. So what you're saying is you're upset that bad people are willing to do bad things with a firearm. And then he goes on to say, you know, we have to have these red flag laws because it's unacceptable that a domestic abuser who has an injunction placed against them, so that's like a restraining order, you're not allowed to contact, you know, your spouse, whatever, because you're already being violent and dangerous. A domestic abuser, number one, with an injunction against them, number two, is legally allowed to buy and possess firearms. Clearly, this guy is lying straight to the face to everybody watching, or he is as dumb as we think he is. Because those are two things that make a person a prohibited person in America. If you're convicted of domestic violence, you are not allowed to own or possess a gun. Point blank. That's it. No question. Full stop. If you have an injunction against you, you are not allowed to purchase or possess a gun in America. Full stop. So then the other thing that was very interesting, flat out lie, is Biden said the gun violence epidemic is disproportionately affecting black men. So he said black men between the ages of 15 and 34, the leading cause of death for black men, 15 to 34, is homicide. So I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I don't remember that being true. So I jumped on to handy dandy Google, which Joe Biden has clearly never heard of before, and I typed in, what is the leading cause of death for black men? And the leading cause of deaths for black men is heart disease, which I'm pretty sure is like the leading cause of death for everybody in America, the world, because people are eating too much junk instead of healthy stuff. Number four, the fourth leading cause of death for a black person is homicide. You want to know when I'm going to really piss some people off? But this is just the truth, man. You want to know what will actually reduce African Americans from getting killed, from homicide being the 4th leading cause of death for the African American community, maybe they need to stop listening to all the music promoting killing people for minor disrespectful things. Maybe we need to stop promoting so much violence in that community and saying that it's okay to be a drug dealer, a very violent person, and think that that's all right. That's what's happening. It's not the gun. It's that these rappers are promoting that if somebody steps on your shoe, you're allowed to shoot and kill them. So these young people listen to it, and they get it burned into their brain that that's the right thing to do. And father figures, yeah, it's the fatherless homes, right? That's always a huge issue. So then he says, Congress has offered their thoughts and prayers, but it's time for them to pass real federal gun laws. Listen, Joe, federal gun laws have been passed throughout the decades, and they have done nothing. Joe loves to take credit for the Brady Act, right? So that's what required the organization of the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. So that's a background check system you go through when you go to buy a gun. He loves to talk about that. It's like a major victory. But 10 years after the NICS system was created, a study was done that found that it did not reduce people going through the federal background check system did not reduce firearm homicides at all. It was not a measurable amount at all. And why is that? It's because criminals are not walking into a gun store and buying a gun. It's because criminals are buying their guns on the street. They're doing it illegally because they are criminals. The one thing that the Brady Act ever did is it actually reduced the amount of people that were walking into a gun store and buying a gun and then immediately committing suicide with it, because it created that waiting period to give people time to kind of think, calm down, and change their mind about what they were going to do. But even that, it was less than 1% difference. Less than 1%. So we made all these big changes, and you accomplished nothing, Joe. Gun Control Act in 1968 accomplished nothing to reduce gun violence. The Firearm Owners Protection Act in 1986 accomplished nothing to reduce gun violence. And one thing, federal assault weapons ban. The other thing, I didn't look it up because I didn't, I won't be able to pull it up fast enough. He then talks about the federal assault weapons ban that happened in 94 to 2004. It reduced gun violence in America. Actually, Joe, the largest mass shooting happened at the 8th year of the federal gun control ban, the federal assault weapons ban. Because again, bad guys don't care what your law says. They are going to do bad stuff, whether they use a car, whether they burn a building down, whether they use a gun or build a bomb. Bad people do bad stuff. So, 4th executive order he said he's going to pass is an assault weapons and high-capacity magazine ban. And he went on to say, that we have to really fight. This is not going to be easy, and we've got to keep pushing and keep pushing. So what exactly are you pushing for? They claim they're trying to reduce gun violence. In 2019, there were 10,258 people died with a firearm. So 10,258. How many of those people died with a rifle that year? It was around 200. So 200 of the 10,000 people that actually died with a gun died from a rifle, let alone an AR-15 or an AK. We just don't know. We're talking less than 2% of the people that actually got killed died because of a rifle. And you're trying to claim that by getting rid of an AR or high-capacity magazine, that's going to somehow save a bunch of lives? Again, he's talking to a group of people that just don't know any better because all they've listened to is the narrative, the crap that the gun control community has been spewing. Every single year, over 38,000 people die from a vehicle death. So that's 4 times more people die from cars than die from guns. Are we banning cars? Are we highly restricting cars? Are we forced? Listen, we could easily reduce the number of deaths in cars right now by making every car have a governor where you can only do 10 miles an hour, Wouldn't you agree? If every car only did 10 miles an hour, we could significantly get rid of that vehicle death. But they don't want to. Why? Because it doesn't match your agenda. Over 480,000 people die from cigarettes every single year. 480,000. So that's like over 1,000% more die from cigarettes than die from guns. You're not trying to ban cigarettes, are you? Probably, because you're getting a bunch of donor money from them. Every single year, about 70,000 people die from drugs. 84,000 people die from diabetes, and over 10,000 die from drunk driving. Are we taking cars away from every law-abiding driver because 10,000 people are idiots or 10,000 people died because an idiot decided to drink and drive? So the last thing he said that he's going to do, last executive order, is he is going to eliminate gun manufacturers' liability protection. And this may be the greatest, most comical statement that sleepy, creepy Joe Biden said in this entire monologue. He said, gun manufacturers are the only business in America that has liability protection and cannot be sued by the general public. And the reason he said something like that is because lots of Joe Biden's staff, a lot of the people he picked for his positions in the White House, come from Silicon Valley. The reality is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, these Silicon Valley tech companies, those are the ones that have the liability protection. Those are the ones that should be sued because they're deleting, demonetizing, and treating people like me differently than everybody else on the internet. So a woman's allowed to be half naked on the internet, or totally naked, and that's totally okay. We're not gonna, because a woman has a right to choose. She has a right to do that. But if I talk about guns, or if I hold a gun during a live stream, I am all of a sudden a very bad, terrible person, and they turn my channel off. Okay, so we'll get some comments here. So, evil, yep. Love my cigarettes and beer. Sure. But again, and here, ting ting, here's the thing. So this is America. If you want to smoke cigarettes, you're smart enough to make your own risk assessment. You want to smoke? Go ahead and smoke. I don't give a shit. You do whatever is going to make you happy. It doesn't affect me. So why is it my guns sit in a gun safe? My guns don't affect anyone else. So why are you trying to affect me? They need to put him in a retirement home, abolish the government. Good luck with that, Sleepy Joe. You're going to be sued. Ford and Jim Beam if they have some Mustang kills. Yeah. So, Robert, it is definitely about a gun confiscation. I think this is going to be, President Obama tried a lot of stuff like this. He was never really able to implement it because of the NRA and primarily because of Gun Owners of America filing lawsuits. And, I can already see down the line, right, of what's about to happen. They're going to pass an executive order saying that the polymer 80 frames are illegal. They have to have a serial number, all this crap, right? Just like the bump stocks happened in 2017. And then finally, in 2021, the federal judge says, hey, this is illegal. You're not allowed to arbitrarily change a definition of what a machine gun is. So all this crap you've been spewing for the last 3 or 4 years is irrelevant. It's not, you're not allowed to do this. That's what's going to happen with the 80% Glock frames. They're going to say it's illegal. Polymer 80 is going to struggle. They're going to go out of business, whatever. So it's going to be lots of people are going to lose their jobs, which we all know Joe Biden doesn't care about people losing their jobs. So people are going to lose their jobs. And then 5 or 6 years later, a federal judge is finally going to get off their ass and they're going to say, you know what? That's illegal. You're not allowed to do that. And then it's all going to start over. So JD says the British tried the same thing in Ireland during the Irish War of Independence. Okay, makes sense. I don't know much about that, but I probably need to look it up. Let's see. They talk a lot. They won't get anything done like always. We can't bury our heads in the sand like that, right? So it's easy to pretend that nothing's ever going to happen. It's easy to pretend that they can't get something done. Listen, they got everything they need right now to ram through crazy, shocking gun control legislation. They've got very anti-gun House. We've got a divided Senate. We've got all do anything to get a promotion Harris as the tie-breaking vote in the Senate. And then we've got sleepy, creepy Uncle Joe Biden, who will sign any piece of paper that they put in front of him and they tell him to sign. So the bottom line is they'll do anything. Yeah, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Let's see. If a ghost gun is illegal, lots have 3 holes. I don't know what that means. Where do we draw the line? The fucking line has been drawn, okay? This is the line. What they're doing right now is the line. And we have to get off of our asses, and we have to actually do something to fight back. The way we are going to fight back is we need to financially support the gun owners of America. Listen, this concept that some gun people have that we need to grab our guns and we need to go to war, that's what they want. They want a bunch of hardcore gun people to show up in full kit, a rifle, show up, and something dumb to happen, just like the Capitol incident on the 6th. Just notice how they've been using the hell out of that incident, and they're never going to stop. They want us to do that. We have to control ourselves, right? Because in those moments, it's very easy to get hyped up and to do something stupid. We have to financially contribute to the gun owners of America. They are the ones that are going to file lawsuits, challenge this nonsense in court, and hopefully get it thrown out. And we have to put a lot of political pressure on these people. But we also have to be very, very cautious, because if we, the gun owners, do or say something stupid, they are going to use that as the exact reason of why we are too dangerous to have guns. Does that make sense? We cannot play into their trap. The January 6th was a trap. It was a trap by the anti-American community they knew a bunch of people were going to be at the Capitol, right? They knew that. But they got them there. They then opened up the doors and said, hey, guys, come on in. We're not going to stop you. And then as soon as they started walking in, they're like, hey, bro, stop. You shouldn't be coming in. And now we're going to paint this as a storming of the Capitol. They'll do the exact same thing. Deal. It's bait. We cannot take their bait. Yeah, it is very funny, Dude, how the barbed wire is still around the Capitol building. Yeah, because frankly, that's what dictators do, right? That's what dictators do. Yeah, it's very terrifying, because this is just a totally different era of what's happening in America with COVID and kind of the fraud that they're perpetrating with that. All they need is one excuse. Yep, you're right, Ting Ting. They're gonna call us militia terrorists. They already call us white supremacists, even though Ting Ting is obviously not a white supremacist. But that's how they label all of us. That's how they try to control the narrative that we're bad people. The Capitol riot should go to jail forever. Okay, it's fine. State needs to call their troops home ASAP. Yeah, I definitely like. Okay, Nick says, do you think Desantis will allow this to pass in Florida? The bottom line is it's not up to Desantis. So I guess maybe Desantis can pass like some executive order saying the state of Florida will not comply. But the way I understand it is it has to be like a legislative decision, or at least the right way to do it is a legislative decision in Florida, like the Katie Tuck Second Amendment Preservation Act, which basically says no matter what Joe Biden does, no matter what federal gun control laws come down the pipe, the Florida Second Amendment Preservation Act would prevent any federal agents or authorities from coming into Florida and attempting to enforce it. We need stuff like that to pass. Yeah, I do love her. I tried to get her to come onto the show. She wouldn't, so I'm going to keep trying. Eventually she will. Show me where I turn in my concealed carry and all my guns and ammo. Stat. Yeah, if you're going to turn them in, I'll take them. I'll take all of them, bro, because I'm not turning shit in. Senator Lindsey Graham will fight for our gun rights. Maybe. I wasn't too impressed with him with the election stuff that happened. I feel like he really cowered down. Palmetto State Armory saying Biden was an idiot. Yeah. What crimes are committed with homemade firearms? You know, the bottom line is there's no tracking of that. Like when you go to the FBI's, what is it called? The crime report that is published by the FBI every single year. It doesn't break down what types of handguns were used in crimes. This is just a BS narrative that they're painting once again to say that 80% guns, because that's a low-hanging fruit to them, right? That 80% guns are what's dangerous in America. That is not what's dangerous. Who killed Ashley? I don't know who Ashley is. Ignorance of all these politicians. They know nothing. I completely agree. Those who give up essential liberty deserve neither liberty nor freedom. So that's a quote from Benjamin Franklin, and I absolutely love it. Hey, thanks, John. We appreciate you, buddy. So I think that's about it, guys. I appreciate you. Make sure you share this with your friends and family. Make sure they know exactly what is happening, and they know the BS that the government is trying to pull over our eyes. And I encourage everybody on here, 565 people right now. I encourage everybody to go to the Gun Owners of America and donate $10. If you can't afford to donate $10 to the American Gun Owners of America right now, then you're full of shit, frankly, in my opinion. We can all afford it. We got to go do it. Now is not the time to try to hold back and think somebody else is going to do it. We have to get involved, and we have to actually do something. Because if we don't, we are going to wake up in a couple months, maybe a year, and all of our rights are going to be gone. So we got to do something, and we got to make sure we defend our rights. So thanks a lot, guys. Okay, Ting Ting said she's going to give $10. Awesome. Liger's already donating $35 a month. Awesome. Yeah, I'm an annual member. I don't know how much I pay every year, but I do it. But yeah, go there and do it. Donate some money. I'm going to do $100 on GOA right now. We got to do something because this is a big deal. This is a fight for our freedom. So thanks for watching, guys. I greatly appreciate you. Stay safe.